God damn it.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. And the truth. No, set you free.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's going on?
Oh man, it looks like you got too much sun. How you doing?
Yeah, I've been outside playing football all day, every day. I've been getting too much sun.
Oh wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I need to start taking care of my skin though, because the sun and skin cancer runs in my family, and that's some serious shit.
Yeah, it is. That's a fun way to start this whole thing. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Face the Truth. I'm talking with a young comedian who's on, he's on fire. He's got passion. He's got the desire. He wants to go get it. He's out there. He's doing it. He's full of passion, full of semen and everything. And I'm excited to talk about what's going on and what's the process. What do you have to do to get out there to be a comedian these days, huh? So we're going to talk with Zach about that. So everyone, please welcome Zach Gish.
Going on, everybody?
Zach Gish. It almost sounds like you're Zach-ish, like Zach, right?
Yeah.
Is that one of your
almost
jokes?
Jack.
Yeah. Did I just give away one of your jokes?
No, but one of the hosts.
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit. Hopefully we have a good connection here. Are you there?
Hold on, you're just glitching out on me.
Yeah, I think there might be a bad connection because it keeps breaking up. Uh-oh.
How are we now?
I just see a black screen that says iPhone.
Oh, really?
That must be your nickname or something.
Yeah. It must be what it's on. Hold on, let me get good now. God damn it.
Well, you see, this is what happens. This is what happened. There we go. There we go. There we go. So hopefully there's a good connection and stays. All right, because are you frozen or is that just how you look?
No, I think that's how I look right, okay. Right now.
All right, man. You keep freezing. I'm keeping all this in here. It's entertaining. So anyways, it keeps freezing like every few seconds though. So hopefully it'll clear up. So anyways, how you been, man? How's it been going?
I've been good, man. Just staying busy. I worked at the comedy bar this summer, and I was also an intern there. So like constantly learning and being in the club was always really helpful and beneficial for my comedic side of things, especially with writing, because writing is one of those things that it's like I look at it like it's the base level of everything. So like if you're writing good material that you are confident with, when you go up on stage, you'll be that much more confident to try it out for the first time. So ultimately, analyzing all the comedians and like asking them about their writing process and how they got to that punchline has really been a blessing at the end of the day, because I feel like I just like sped up my whole like comedic process. Mm-hmm. I felt like every show that I've done a guest spot with, like Ryan Davis in Helium, Indianapolis, we did 6 shows. Michael Lanucci at Laugh Factory, Sarah Tomachi at Zanies, all of them are like huge learning experiences that like speed up everything. They speed up the whole process because it's a real crowd in a big club full of so many people, and you can kind of start to see what the people like from you, and then that's when you kind of just got to start milking that. And that's what I've been doing. I've been running with it.
Yeah. No, that's basically what I do as well. I'm a strong believer in the material. It's funny how many times I go to like open mics or different things like that, and I sit through about 25 comics, and I'm like, did you even have a thought before you got on stage? like there was no setup, there was no punch, there was no story. What did you think was going to happen? But like I'm more like I got ideas that just pop like in my head all day long, different things I see, or just like a lot of times it happens when I'm taking a shower or something like that, and I'm like, oh, where's my phone, and I just got to just write it down. Like I got like this, like what I do a lot of times is on my phone, all I need is a couple like things to remind me of what I was thinking, like I put like just the titles like this, like losing weight. Okay, I got like a whole bunch of shit about how I need to lose weight, and some funny shit about that and getting old or whatever. But that's just like a title, right? And I know what I have in that idea wise. And then a couple of the other ones are Catholic gay, religion shit, marriage pussy, you're not an adult until you buy a wheelbarrow, Jesus shit. Like those.
The wheelbarrow one is great.
Yeah. I just learned that recently. Also, if things are slow romantically in your marriage, buy a house and start mowing the lawn, because you're gonna start getting that lawnmower pussy. I'm telling you right now. Anyways, oh yeah, that'll spice things up. Let's spice it up. No, but that's how I think about it though. Is like, you got to have the material, and what I've been doing every week. I'm only getting to go out once, maybe twice a week, but mostly just because I have when I have stuff booked, I'm like the comedy bar thing coming up. I got tight material for that. What I do every week is I've been trying to basically write a new 5 minutes every week, but not with the idea that it's going to be perfect 5 minutes. But basically out of that 5 minutes, I get at least 30 seconds or more of something good. And I can start to just build on that. But the material, I spend the time writing, during the day. I spend, in between my jobs and at lunchtime, just writing, walking around, just saying it. And then, so when I get on stage, I know there's some funny shit in there. And I just gotta, then it's the delivery, right? Because I mean, that's the fun part, right? You get up there and you're like, all right, is my mouth gonna work right?
Because that's for real what it is. It's like you have so many thoughts, and one of the sentences is gonna make them laugh. It's just, how are you gonna weave your way to that sentence as smooth as possible? And I find myself sometimes on new jokes, like totally writing out my thought, like you said. Like I'll be driving my car and I will have the thought and I will pull the car over and legit, so I can be typing in my phone. I'll type every single thought that comes to brain, and then I usually end up pulling like 3 sentences from that and try it on stage, and where I know where A, B, and C are funny. But then also I learned recently, have safety net, like a safety net joke. So like if you're doing a bit that one tag works, put like 3 or 4 new tags in front of it. And then, if they all go bad, you got your safety net joke right in your back pocket. That's been helping me out a lot, trying to push out new material. Because like you said, sometimes it's hard getting to open mics and you have some scheduled shows, but I don't know. I'm a firm believer in like every show should be a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the hard thing, I think, about like when I first started doing comedy, I didn't know, like I got thrown into it. And I've talked about this a lot on the podcast, so I'm not going to get too much in it. I think we've talked about it, but I had an unusual circumstance where basically a huge comic, Steve Byrne, just was like, "Hey, I want you to try comedy." And I based my first show ever was opening at the Chicago Improv. And it was terrifying. But I did well enough that, you know, he invited me to do more shows with him. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I love this. Like, I always wanted to do it. And then when I had that opportunity, but then I went from the Chicago Improv to, oh, now I got to go to these shitty open mics everywhere. And like, and that was a completely different kind of experience. And it's a hard way to try to test out material, because, you know, you're doing it mostly to other comics who all think they're funnier than you are. And, you know, yeah, they are judging you the entire time. And it's a weird way to see if things are working, to know. I mean, you might have a really funny joke, but no one laughs. And then you're like, then you start feeling like, I thought that was a good one, but all right, whatever. And then, you know, you try it out with real people and they die laughing. So it's a strange way to, like, you know, to test things, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I love the Comedy Bar because their open mic is a real audience.
Yeah, I love that.
So you get the show, and then right after you get their open mic, and the people, the first show usually stay. The only thing I've learned from that is the crowd. Yes, there are a real crowd, but they're warmed up already. Like, that's not a cold open mic. Like, a cold open mic, I would describe as like, you know, 15, 25 comics, and no one's made the room laugh yet, and everyone's just going up there throwing shit at the wall. And then you'll feel it at an open mic when one dude goes up there, goes to the room, and everyone's like, holy shit, that's some new shit, or like, that's a new joke.
That reminds me.
The Comedy Bar, it was
I'm
very
trying to
helpful.
remember. I was gonna say that just reminded me what my point was I was trying to get to. I totally forgot. Was about the new material, like trying something new every time. It, like, when I first was getting started, I was confused. I didn't know, like, when I started going to these mics, you know, I only had a little bit of material, and I felt weird. Like, and I actually started talking to some other comics. I'm like, and I talked to professional comics that I know, and they were gracious enough to just tell me. And I was like, I'm going every week working on my material, but I feel weird doing the same bits over and over. I feel like people they're gonna just know what I'm gonna say. And, you know, it's, and the advice I was given was, no, that's what you got to do. Like, because, you know, and I was talking with Craig Conan about this, and what he told me was, he goes, that's the only way. Saying the bit over and over and over again, and is the only way that you're going to get new tags. Saying it in front of people and being uncomfortable, and, you know, putting yourself out there and being vulnerable. That's the only way. And what he told me was that he saw Joe Rogan develop a set, you know, from scratch. And he said that he watched, you know, the great Joe Rogan at the Comedy Store, and he went and saw him do some stuff, and it was terrible. But people enjoyed it because it's Joe Rogan. But he said it was the jokes were just like, ugh. Then he went the next night, and the jokes were, you know, but the same material. But Joe was like, you know, stuck with it. There's something there. And he said after about a month and a half, all of a sudden he's got a killer set, you know, but he just was doing that same material over and over until he sculpted it, you know. So in one way, I kind of feel like, yeah, like right now I've been trying new things every week because I've got so much material and I have so little time I get to do stand-up right now with my current situation. So I just want to try it and see what's working. But what I'm doing though is I'm actually getting random pieces here and there that I can accumulate And like right now, I think I got at least a solid 10 to 15 minutes because of that. But like, I have a bunch of other material that I have no idea if it's, because, but that's why I keep trying that stuff. So I don't know. It's something I think that the thing that I like about comedy, and I wonder what your thoughts are on this, is I love the organicness of it, that it's like a living thing. You don't know from one crowd to another. You don't know from one night to another, one club or another, how it's going to go. And it's a living thing that can crush you,
Yeah,
but also excite you,
it can crush you for real, but I think that's another thing that excites me about it, because like every single time is so different. Like there's no way you could get bored. You're either gonna like mess up a joke, you're gonna either think of another way to tell that joke, you're gonna do like some spontaneous crowd work that just turns out to be good, and then you're like, oh, maybe I should start doing crowd work. I really think that it is so like night and day. Like I say, there's dark days in comedy, and there for real is like, but you just gotta put your head down and keep like working. Like you said, like if you don't have a lot of time, be doing a whole new 5 minutes every time you're going to an open mic, because that's statistically how you're gonna get all the best jokes that you have in your head out. I mean, Ralphie May says it on his stand-up boot camp. You should be doing like, he said, a fresh 5. If you're like the first year in, you should be doing like a fresh 5 minutes, like at least every other night. And then you go by this point system and you try to get like, I think 11 points a night. It was like 5 points for a new joke, 3 points for 2 points for a new tag, and 1 point for a rearrangement and material. So like changing where a joke is in order. And I've really been like staying true to that, and like in my notes, writing down after each, because I think it keeps you motivated. It's like, oh shit, today I only rearranged a joke. I kind of hit autopilot. I only had 2 points. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go right. Let me go right, make my whole set for tomorrow. And then when you go to an open mic tomorrow, it comes all the way back around. When you go to the open mic, sometimes you got to scratch all your material and just talk about the room, and just, sometimes you have to gain respect of the other comedians of just being funny in the moment and saying fuck your own material that you're trying to test out. Yeah. Because ultimately at the end of the day, you're trying to impress and kind of put fear in the other comics' hearts, and then you want them to be talking about you, and then the booker, obviously would be in the crowd, or maybe they're out, but next week when they come to the mic, they're going to be like, oh, did you hear that blah, blah, blah did good last week? And I don't know, like we were talking about, it's so night and day, like with audiences and everything, it attracts me. I love it. Yeah. And I would take one bad day in comedy to have, 30 seconds of that feeling of when you get off stage, when you get off stage at one of those big crowds, Laugh Factory, there was like 200 and something people there. And I'm standing at the door and people are saying, yo, nice job. I want to get a picture with you. Like, I've never been asked that question ever. And it was just like, it's reassuring.
You're doing this whole comedy thing that, so people take pictures of you.
This is working. I need to stick with, like,
it's like,
this is,
I want you, like, the first time you get interviewed by some, like, media thing for something, and like, why are you in comedy? Well, to be honest, it's like, I really just want people to take pictures with me. I mean, that's really what it's all about, man. Um, that's my dream. I just want people to put,
You know,
you know,
fuck the bookers, fuck
yeah.
making money, want the
I was talking with Ted Alexander, and one thing that he told me, and I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a brilliant comic from New York. But one of the things he was telling me is, and I've been doing this, and it's been really awesome, is he goes, same thing like what you were saying, like with the Ralphie May thing, like, trying the new stuff. He was like, it's really good to get up there and try the new stuff. And even I was talking with, I'm not trying to name drop here. I just realized it sounds like a name drop, but this is true. I've been talking with Kevin Nealon lately, and I've been talking to him about comedy, and he's doing a bunch of art, caricature stuff. And so him and I talk all the time about art and, comedy and stuff like that. But I was letting him know like how my comedy has been going. And he was wondering how that's been, what it's been like. And I've been explaining to him that I've been trying a lot of new material and just putting myself out there. And he told me that, I think it's Gary Shandling said like something like, it's so important to be open and be present. Like, and that's what Kevin told me. And just that thought it's been in my mind for the last few weeks when I go up, is just be open, be present. Like, and I think that's a really important thing, because sometimes you're like on autopilot and like what you said, and you're just thinking about your material, but what if the room, it has a different vibe or feeling, and what if this, you can, you got to feel what's going on, and you got to react and be open to, like I've noticed, like when I'm loose like that, and when I realize, hey, this is my one life, just who cares? We're all gonna die. Have fun. Have fucking fun. Once I get into that mindset, like, I'm here to entertain you. I'm gonna entertain you now. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna entertain you. And once I have that attitude change, it's so much more fun to be on stage. And then what Ted Alexander told me was, try your new material at the beginning, 2-3 minutes. Just see how it goes, and then end with something works well. So you end with a nice, laugh or whatever. You know what I mean? You're frozen again. Let it go. Let it go. Are you there? Oh my God. What a handsome pose. At least you're frozen with a good look there.
Yeah.
There you are.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, I that makes sense though. Like, I always heard Bill Burr say, start with new material because you're most excited about it. Like, and that's because, like, if you're going through your old jokes in the back of your brain, you're like, oh, I just can't wait to get to this new stuff to see how it's gonna work. And then you're just like stumbling over tags, or you're not being in the moment with the original. And then by the time your new jokes come around, you butcher the timing, your confidence is swayed, and then you're fucked up.
Yeah. I learned something important one night with you at the comedy bar, where I was trying like all new stuff, and I was doing really well. And I tried a brand new joke, a real short and sweet joke, and it killed. Whole place was like dying laughing. And then I dropped my glory hole joke, and you couldn't hear a pin drop. Not one person in the entire place laughed. And I was like, okay, hallelujah, amen. See you guys next time. I guess this is my time. Like, I should have left on a huge joke because I had a huge laugh, and then I ended on silence. So I learned from that experience. Hey, if you get a huge laugh like that, just get the fuck off stage. Don't try the new one after that. Like, because it was like, I think you said to me, he goes, that was hilarious how nobody laughed at the like, nobody laughed. Nobody. Oh my gosh. I was like, all right. I guess that I need to work on that one. I know there's something funny in that joke.
That's the thing of it. Like, finding the funny in the joke is like a lot of it. Like, you'll have a joke that makes you laugh, and then you'll write it down, and you won't find the funny in it for a month or two, and I will just be going about my day and I'll be like, oh, that's how I should say that.
Yeah.
And that would work on stage rather than how I had it phrased the first time. But yeah, if that is crazy that the comedy bar when we were there, I remember that night. It was a hot room. That was a hot room, and they were loud. They were giving attention. That was a good night.
Yeah. The funny thing about it is I thought they were on my side because they laughed at my not believing in God and orgasm joke. And I'm like, all right. So I'm like, let's drop the glory hole joke. It didn't work. It's
let's pull it out of the back pocket. They love it.
Like maybe I can write a joke about how that joke didn't work, who knows? But yeah, it's yeah,
that is.
I did something. One thing that I've been like, I don't know what if you want to give any of your behind the scenes away or anything, but like one thing I really love. I think I'm slowly finding my voice, which is I really love misdirection a lot. I think it's just natural. It comes natural for me. But something I've been experimenting with lately, which I think has been working, and I just love it because I love the awkwardness. I think sometimes groans or just uncomfortable silences and stuff are so funny. And like I'll just do like a weird transition, like this last week I was talking about itchy asses, and I was just for a little bit just talking about how I really love get up in that ass and cleaning that ass out, and just going on about that. And then I have 4 daughters. like a transition. And then I start talking about my daughters. So it's like I like that contrast, that like, it's just something I'm still working on. But is there anything like that you think about like when you're writing stuff?
Yeah, I know that like off when I'm on stage, the first impression people usually see is that like I look like a young douchebag. So I've been really leaning into that. And in Chicago, it's really easy to lean into that. It's really freaking easy because you can make Lollapalooza jokes,
Yeah.
You can make jokes about so like this kind of goes on a side tangent, but my school is right next to Riddle's Comedy Club, which is right down the road. I don't know if you've ever been to Riddle's.
No, not yet.
But it's
south
a
side, right?
great club. Yeah, it is on the south side.
Okay.
So it's like they have open mics every day of the week usually, and then shows on the weekend. And I'll just go to practice and then hop over to the club, and I'll be the only white dude in the club, like for multiple nights. And when I get up there on stage, I don't start talking about my material. I address the room, like I talk about how I'm the only white kid in the room and I know how it looks. And people love that. And,
yeah, that's good.
And so like what you're saying about finding your voice.
You should start talking about how you like big booties. See how that goes.
I do.
You do. Yeah.
They would love that, I'm pretty sure. But it was like it's cool because I feel like stand-up comedy is such like a whatever you're talking about in your bit, like it's kind of like it's always going on in your head. It's a little bit of like not even therapy, but like it's a little bit of you. So I'm trying to get on stage more of just like, hi, my name's Zach. I'm not a douchebag, but I can make you laugh. And then bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
But sometimes getting the audience or getting the crowd's attention can be troubling. But usually when I say I'm 20 years old on stage, I see everyone's eyebrows perk up and their eyes are like way more invested in me than they were 10 seconds ago before I told them my age. So being the youngest person in the room is really powerful because people will listen to you because they think you're going to fuck up. And when you don't fuck up, it's so nice. It's so nice.
Yeah. No, that's really smart. I mean, you gotta address. It's so funny. This last week at CG's, I really love going to CG's. It's a great place. There's this comic that got up before me, and he's really, I think it was like his second time, and it was hilarious because all he was talking about, he didn't have any material. All he was talking about is how it's his second time, and how he was talking about his influences in comedy, and he was trying to tell people you should listen to these people because they're really good comics. And he's like, this is who I'm influenced by. And then he goes, and then I went to the, what's that place called? The Shrine, the Comedy Shrine or something like that. He was talking about how he did stand up there, and then he goes, and I noticed like some of you guys were there, and some of you guys are doing the same thing here. Like, I know what you're gonna say. Like, so you're just like repeating the same thing. And I know I'm gonna be funnier than some of you guys. And like, he's just up there saying all this stuff, and people are like, what the heck? And it was really funny. It was awkward. He seems like a nice guy, but he's like so fresh and new. I don't think he knows quite what's going on yet. But Kyle gets up there, the host, and he's like, please welcome your next comic, Jason Seiler. And he's like, he's for sure going to be funnier than that last guy or something like that. But it was funny because he used, what the other guy was talking about to intro me. And then, of course, I have to address it now. Right. So I got to get up there and say hey, man, like, don't, I don't want to disappoint anybody here. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I can be funnier than that, So but you have to kind of address, like, I saw Bob Dylan live years ago, and I was so excited to see Bob Dylan live, and it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. Not only did he sound terrible, he literally was like, it was like, dude, but he didn't address the crowd once. He didn't say, hey, Chicago.
Oh my God.
Hey, Chicago. Like, he didn't say anything. Like, he didn't say hi to the crowd. He just got up there and just like, and he just, like, for 2 songs, he's standing there, and then he literally walked behind this huge piano and sat there, and you just saw part of his hair. The whole show, you just saw part of his hair behind a piano, and that was it. And my wife and I left, like, maybe 10 songs in. We're just like, this is stupid. Like, we're leaving a Bob Dylan show because, like, it's so bad. Like, but I think that's part of it. You have to be able to communicate. That's the whole point. It's the whole point,
right?
Is, it's just, you're supposed to have jokes, right? I did something 3 weeks ago that was an experiment. I don't know if you've done this before. I've got so much material that I've been going over and over and over, stuff I did with Steve Byrne and different things. And I had like these new ideas, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do tonight? I'm going to go up on stage with these ideas, these thoughts that are in my head, and I'm just going to go up there and talk. I had nothing written down. I had no jokes prepared, and it was scary. It was so scary, but I was like, what does it matter? I'm not going to be here in 100 years, 50 years. Who knows? Like, why? Like, this is it. Like, why not? This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be uncomfortable. And so I got up there, and I just started talking about, because I just moved to the suburbs, and I've after living in Chicago for 26 years. And I just started talking about my feelings about what it's like living in Chicago versus the suburbs, and how uncomfortable I feel in the suburbs because of how nice everybody is. It's really freaking me out, and I just talked about, like, there's no gunshots. Like, I got little old ladies. I was walking my dog, and I had 2 full poop bags, and this little old lady walks out of her garage. She's like, hey, young man, can I take those poop bags from you? And I was like, what? No. Like, what do you want with my poop bags? You know, what's next? You're going to ask me to come in for like an iced tea and a hand job or something? Like, just stay away from me. Yeah. I can walk a few more
I want
blocks.
you to cook. I don't cook. Get out of my
Yeah. You want me to come in and try some cookies? You know, like, but anyways, I got up on stage and I just started talking about this shit with like no, you know, I didn't know where it was going to go. And it was a great set. Like, it was a great set. And then I knew I had about like a minute left. And so I ended with something I knew worked. And then I got off stage and I was like, wow, it felt so good. It felt so good just to be free and just like, I just made, and here's the thing, I made a room full of open micers laugh. And that was a good feeling. Cause they, you know, it's like they're enjoying it. They're having a good time. That's sometimes that's almost feels better in a way than, you know, cause it's like, they know the process and everything. And if you're getting them to all laugh at something, I don't know. I was just like, yeah, that's a good feeling. I like, cause you feel like almost like this brotherhood, you know?
Yeah.
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 I love that.
Talking about like, were you a word for word comic? So like you write it all out and then you analyze it in your head and then you go out there and
I mean, I'll work on my material and have it pretty much word for word, but after I do it a few times, I start changing it. You know, I start changing around, and you know, and it just reminds me of something. You just remind me of something I wanted to tell you before. I also been doing is sometimes I'll open with my closer. You know, I've been doing that. I've been or switching. Switching the order of a set around and just see what happens. Like, oh man, what if I ended on this one and I start with this one? You know, so I just think that see, I'm an artist, right? That's what I do for a living, and everything basically in my life is about art, whether it's about music. So I used to be in bands for years, writing, teaching. I teach art, you know, and so comedy to me is just as much an art form. That's why I like to have comics on the podcast and talk about this, because this is an art form, and it can go in any direction. And it, like I said before, it's alive, it's living. And, you know, just the process of it can be fun and exciting, you know? A lot of people, I don't think, get what it is that comics do. That it's like, oh, you're just gonna make me laugh, you know? Yeah.
They have no clue, because if they knew what it was like, they wouldn't say, oh, you're a comedian, tell me a joke. Like,
oh yeah,
they get that all the freaking time, man. And I'm just, I'm not at a comedy club right now. I'm supposed to be hanging out with you idiots getting material. So can you quit asking me?
Yeah.
Can you quit asking me? Oh, freaking.
See, that's good, man. That's good. You know, like it's funny too. Like, have this ever happened to you where like someone finds out that you do comedy and then they're like, I've been at events, like conferences, and you know, like artists are together and they're like, oh, you should get up and do some comedy in front of everybody. Go up there on the mic, and it's like, no. And they're like, why? I'm like, the people, you don't force comedy on them. Like, they didn't come here for comedy. Right. Like, they don't want to hear my dick jokes right now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they want to hear about Jesus and dicks. Like, they have to come to you, you know?
Yeah, that's it, because like I have football meetings all day long. Sometimes I'll sleep through them, right? And I'll be running to my meeting late. I'll get there and all the coaches will be like, Gish, you're late. And the whole room will be like, ooh. And I'm like, okay, I already know I'm going to be punished. But now I don't get punished in any other way other than they tell me to stand in front of the whole room and do a couple minutes. That's my punishment. So like, I'm doing a cold room of athletes that are to watch film on practice, but they're tired. No one wants to hear any joke. and I have to go up there at the end of the meeting and just rattle off 2-3 minutes, and it's horrible. It's the worst.
Yeah.
But living in that moment with being uncomfortable, oh my God, dude. Because the more you can get comfortable with being uncomfortable, that's all it is.
That's true, man.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like, I figured out, like for the most part, people can sense that if you're talking about something, you should like know it or experience it or like have gone through it or something in that regards, or have enough knowledge to be talking about it. So that's where I had to go step back in my material and be like, yo, I'm a 20-year-old kid. What do I know? And that's where I
not much
really got right.
Not much, man. I'm telling you right now, buddy.
A joke on stage.
Yeah.
And that's a joke on stage.
Your brain hasn't even developed yet, and you're still playing football. That's a joke. That's a joke right there. You should say the human brain doesn't develop until you're 25. I'm 21 and I'm playing football. So, so my brain.
So how develop my brain?
My brain is not going to develop. This is it. This is all you're going to get.
I'll be 47 and I'm still going to be developing my brain.
You'll be 47. You'll be 47 and you're going to get up on stage and your intro is going to be like, so I'm 21. Mm-hmm.
That is funny. But like with the head and the concussions with football, I play into that so much, man. I don't know if you saw.
Yeah, I saw some of your clips. It's pretty funny
on Instagram, but thanks, man. It was the practicing concussions where I'm like head banging on the.
Yeah, that's good. The physical stuff is great, man. It's always I've been trying to do that too. The more you can put physical shit in there, I think it's expressions, moving around. It's all part of it, man. What was it like? I want to ask what it was like doing the show at the Laugh Factory, because that's awesome, man. With blanking on his name right now.
Michael Lanucci.
Yeah, Michael, dude, I love that. I actually saw him years ago open for Chris D'Elia, and he was awesome, man.
Yeah, that's like he traveled with D'Elia on tour, and that's how most people know him, because they went and saw D'Elia. But the cool thing about him is people like you left that place remembering his name, and
he was kind of. I just
forgot. Feature is a good feature.
I just blanked on his name, but no, but you're right.
That's so true.
I've seen a lot of like some of my favorite comics live, like Louis C.K., Segura, and to be honest, like there's a lot of times I don't remember the opener, because I just want to see Tom Segura, I just want to see Louis C.K., and but not only that, but the opener didn't really sit with me. But Michael, he was hilarious, dude. And he's got a great stage presence. His voice is great. His premises are great. So I remembered him totally. Like, I was like, man, that guy's awesome. And then even like when I was talking with Craig Conant, I had him on the podcast a couple years ago, maybe. And he's good friends. They're buddies. And I brought up how funny he was. And he was like, he thought it was funny because I couldn't remember his name then either. Like, and so he like, I don't know why I blank on his name. It's so weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm terrible with names, I guess.
It's that's the worst. When like I was in a green room with Ryan Davis, and he had brought in all these older comics, like some of them from Charlotte, some of them from Indy, and we're chopping it up before the show, and I'm nervous for my 5 minutes. We got 350 people out there waiting, and a dude's like asking me questions, and he's like, do you remember what my name is? And I'm like,
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, you better be Dave Chappelle. I mean, why? I've never seen you go up And he was a 50-year-old comic that was kind of like had hate towards the game because the game kind of hated him, I felt like, you know. But he did teach me a good lesson that in the green room, you should definitely say the person's name that you just met in your head 1,000 fucking times, you know?
Yeah.
And, but back to Michael Lanucci at Laugh Factory, it was really, really cool. He like gave me an opportunity. He didn't even want to see a clip of me. He just was like, yeah, you're 20. I want to see what you can do.
So wait, how did it work? How did you end up getting the show? Like if he hasn't, like, you know, if he...
So basically, and now that I know the ramifications of it, I can come out and talk about it. But basically, I would DM on Instagram all these comics come into clubs that I know. And I would basically ask for a guest spot, give them a huge sales pitch, you know, say like, I'm 20, I'm starving. I would do anything to get on stage anytime given. Tell them that I do have a support system in Chicago that I can put asses in the seats, but most headliners don't need asses in the seats. And they're just wanting to see if they can help you out because they're nice people. But some of them don't talk to the clubs, and then you get to the club and then the club's like, who are you? And you're like, oh, I'm here supposed to do a guest spot. And the booker of the club had already booked someone to do a guest spot because that's how it goes at big clubs. You know, they book guest spot, feature, host, and or not feature. They do maybe a guest spot and a host, but you can't do that. No booker likes you coming in through the door, kind of on the side door, if no one's communicated with them fully through all the way. So like, it's been a problem. It's been a problem with some clubs. Some clubs were like, I saw that you hit up some of my headliners that are coming through. We're not giving you a spot. In order to get a guest spot, you got to come to our club, prove yourself. And I get that.
Yeah.
And I totally understand that because that's how it goes. But with the opportunities that I've done it with, John Gonzalez, Ryan Davis, Sarah Tomalakshi, and Michael Lanucci, I legit have learned so much in a fast time period because those big shows experiences, they teach you a lot more than an open mic or just
of course.
A best of Chicago comic show, because that headliner brings in a specific crowd, and that crowd usually now I will sit and I'll watch all the people come in and see like what we're working with. Like what's the, is it a white crowd? Is it a mixed crowd? Is it an older crowd? Is it a younger? Oh my God, there's frat boys sitting in the front row. I have to talk about that. Earlier, I would not do that. I would just be in the green room looking at my material, and I'd go out there and be like, oh my God, there's so many people here. And I don't even know my audience when I'm stuttering over my material, you know? But like getting guest spots has been one of the things that like has kind of put me apart of all the other comics, because I got dates faster. Like in 6 months, I got Laugh Factory and Zanies, and I had that goal up on my mirror. Like, I want to be at these clubs.
Yeah.
And August came around. That's my 6 months mark. And I got into both the clubs. Did I have to have a sit down conversation with both the bookers before and after and during about the whole situation? Yes, because I ultimately did something that was not really approved by anybody.
You know what? This reminds me, I gotta tell you something. So I gotta tell you a funny story. This happened yesterday. I'm an illustrator and artist. I teach. I do these different things, and there's this art convention that's annual. It's called Lightbox. It's really cool, Lightbox Expo, and it's like the world's greatest illustrators, artists, animators, everything, and they have like, it's kind of like a comic convention type of a thing, but they're doing it online this year, and I'm a part of it. I'm doing like a live demo at some point where I'm drawing and painting and stuff. But they asked if I had anything to donate to the goodie bag. So like when people pay when people pay to be on this, they get they can download a Jason Seiler folder, and I donated. So a few years ago, a friend of mine asked me if he paid me and asked if I would do a demo for him. And so I did. It was like 3 hours of me drawing and painting Jack Nicholson. And so I remembered I had that, and I was like, I could just I sent that, and like, that'll be something cool, because I know I talk about my process and everything like that. I think it's 5 videos long. And so I just sent that to the company, and like, you can put this in the goodie bag, and I think people get a lot out of it, because it's just me drawing and painting and talking about the process. Well, I should have listened to everything I talked about in the video, because I was talking to a friend of mine, and so some personal things are in there that I don't remember. And yesterday, Bobby Chu, who's like the guy that runs everything and runs the school I teach for, he wrote me and he goes, "Dude, you're so hilarious." He goes, this is the funniest shit. Like, he goes, everyone's dying laughing at your goodie bag. And I'm like, what did I say? Like, what are you talking about? And he goes, "Oh, dude, it's just so funny." Like, and I explained to him, I said, "I don't know what it is. I'm gonna have to go and listen," because they actually didn't give all the videos. They only did the last 2 videos so they only offer the last 2. And so I started watching the beginning of the video, and for the first 20 minutes of this video, I'm talking about how I'm going through a lot of shit right now. I'm telling them, like, it's been a really rough time. I'm going on and on. There's nothing having to do with the painting. It's just me going on talking to my friend, like, "Dude, I'm a victim of check fraud right now. Like, 2 of my checks have been ripped off, and I've had to go to the police station." And I'm going into detail about how my agent had to like cancel his whole checking account and start a brand new one. I'm like talking about all this crazy shit, and then I end with a cherry on top, and I'm like, "Oh, dude," and I just found out I have to go get a colonoscopy because my brother had a colonoscopy, and they found polyps in his ass, and like, and my mom was freaking out. So my mom's like, "You got to get checked out too." So I'm like going on and on about being a victim of check fraud and having a colonoscopy. So these people are gonna
in your ass.
Yeah, they want to watch Jason Seiler do a demo of paint. That's what they're gonna hear, is that shit. I can't even believe it's so funny. It's so embarrassing. He thought that I did it as a joke, as a prank. Like, he thought that, because then like 20 minutes in, all of a sudden I start talking about, so when I paint eyes, it's so crazy. I can't even believe.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right.
It's so embarrassing.
That's natural humor, though. Like, you didn't even plan.
People are gonna, dude. There's like thousands of people that are a part of this thing that are gonna download that. It's so crazy. So, anyways, if anyone downloads my goodie bag, you're in for a treat. So, are you you're frozen again? Are you there?
You got. We good?
Okay, I'm not seeing you. It's just blackness like my soul. But anyways, yeah, that was embarrassing. It feels good to get it off my chest. I was dying laughing, man. Like yesterday, I was crying when I found out. Dude,
Real quick.
what was
Dude,
that?
That can you see me now?
Yeah.
Okay. That is hilarious. And when people like think of it, they're gonna be like, oh, he definitely was doing it. It was like a part of an act. Like it was you trying to be funny, as that one dude said.
Yeah.
But it was just natural. You totally forgot about it. That's the funniness of like what we do. What we do on stage is it should just be like accidentally funny almost. It shouldn't like there's yes, you should have jokes and you should write jokes, but like kind of just being accidentally funny is like the best thing you can do on stage.
Yeah, for sure, man. You keep freezing. So we're almost at an hour here, and this has been a really fun talk with you, man. I like this. What's fun about this is I think that this is a really great talk about comedy because like I've talked with with other comedians, and but what's cool about this is anyone that's interested in getting into comedy or just interested in comedy, I think this is a great talk because it's sort of like pulling back the curtain a little bit and hearing a little bit of honesty about it. And so I think that's really cool. So I appreciate you sharing some stuff. But before we get going, is there anything coming up and all that kind of stuff? And also, is there anything you just want to mention or talk about or bring up, or what's been funny for you lately? Like what kind of things have been cracking you up, or you know?
Yeah, I've really been like focusing on getting on the producing side of like the shows. So like I co-host and produce at the Comedy Bar with Josh. And then now I have my own show at Riddles called College Night, and I basically market it to my whole college that is like right down the road.
That's smart.
And I just knock on door-to-doors, and it's good because you make friends at college just by like knocking on doors saying like, yo, will you come out and support me? Oh, you play soccer? I'll come to your soccer game, right? Or like, oh, you do bowling? Okay, I'll get a beer at the bowling alley. Like, I'm not allowed to yet, but I'll use my fake ID. It's a bowling alley. Everyone uses a fake ID there. But, you know, it's like when you're on the producing side of things, it's like you're more versatile because, like, on your resume, now they know that you know how a show works. You know that that along with producing usually comes hosting, and being a good host is probably one of the harder things to do in comedy. And basically getting all the host time I can, because hosting is so organic and it's just like you being you on stage, and you can't force the crowd into a joke. You got to welcome the crowd and you got to make everyone feel at home. And that's almost like what excites me about starting these new shows is I'm going to shift and like my whole way I look at comedy is going to be shifted, because I'm going to go up there with probably 2 jokes in mind that I want to say. And those 2 jokes are the most conversational jokes I have. So just come off the riff whenever in that time I want to. But, you know, asking people where they're from. But like for the college night, I know everyone came from a college. So I'm trying to like think of good questions I can ask.
You know, I got a question about that. This might not be a popular question among college kids, but doing comedy for college kids, have you found it difficult at all with, I mean, our current culture right now? I don't know how to put this the right way. people need to chill the fuck out. Like, people are so intense. They're taking this woke shit way too far, and they're being complete morons about it. And
Right.
and like, and I'm just wondering how difficult it is performing for colleges and stuff. Even though you're a college kid, do you feel like you have to walk on eggshells with some material? Because I've done like maybe one. I think it was actually my first open mic I ever did, and it was by shit. What's that college? It's on Fullerton, DePaul. Yeah. So it was close to there, and dude, I was like right away. I'm like, oh, it's a bunch of college kids that can't handle anything.
Yeah.
They can't handle everything. Offends them, and it's like, dude, why are you in a comedy club?
Right.
Yeah.
But
anyways,
you're right. Like, for example, one of the girls that came to one of my shows over the summer got offended by one of the headliners' jokes, and by the headliner's joke, and ended up crying, and then left the club and was like, texted me, yo, it was awesome. Your performance was great. I had to leave. I felt offended. And all I did, I gave it a thumbs up to the text message, and I said, thank you for coming. Like, I appreciate you coming to support me. But you're right. Nowadays, especially with college and the kids that I'm rising up with and growing up with, they are confused on what they can and can't laugh at. And there's a lot of like walking on eggshells because you don't know who's going to get offended in the audience, and you don't know what that person could say about you outside the club. So like in the city of Chicago, you got every art student you can imagine. So they are, they're art kids. They're not your average college where you're going to find a Greek life with sorority and a fraternity. Like, these are kids aspiring to be better. And most of them, are really like liberal when it comes to the room. And it's good for me because I'm a football player and I get locker room talk all day in my head. So when I go to the city, it's like, turn that off. And I got to learn how to talk and really communicate with people that I wouldn't normally hang out with. But that is what stand-up comedy is. It's just hanging out with people that you've never hung out with before. Yeah. I mean, I think it's cool though, because college kids want to spend money and they want to use their ID that they just turned 21, and they want to support people doing live stand-up because TikTok is huge. You can have 100,000 followers on TikTok, but when you're walking on the street, that dude's not going to say hi to you because he's antisocial and all he can do is make a video. When you can market your show, say, please come, I'm being very vulnerable, I need you there, I need a new friendship. They come to the show, they laugh, they have a good time. The drinks are going to be overpriced, but that's with every comedy club. They leave that club feeling like, wow, he invited me, he performed, he made me laugh. I just made a friend on stage with a room of 60 people, when in real life, I would have to go and hang out with all the 60 people individually for a whole night, go out to the bars, do something to create that relationship. But I've found that stand-up is just like almost a fast track. Like, it's
the moment I met you backstage at the comedy bar, right away you were like all up my ass, like just like, who are you, how you doing, what are you up to, but just like you're like introducing yourself to everybody and being so friendly and and you had like this attitude of go get, I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna go, I'm going after this thing. This is and that's, for being as young as you are and having that attitude, you've got the right attitude. Because, I gotta say, like, it's, I got two teenage daughters, and, I love them, they're very smart, but when you hang around teenagers, it's like, it's a good, I don't even know how to say this the right way. I don't have hope for the future.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying my kids, I'm just saying in general, like teenagers in general.
And so discouraged.
Yeah, there's like a lot of young people I've noticed. Again, not my daughters, but a lot of young people I've noticed just don't seem to have direction. They don't have like a focus. They don't have a passion or a drive, and I've noticed this a lot with other people I know, and I'm just like, man, it's hard for me to relate, because I've kind of been like you, like, and so I've just always been driven, and I've always known what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go with it. But with you, it's been like, from the first moment I met you, you were just like, I'm gonna go get it. And so that's really why I wanted to have you on the podcast, because you're not very many people know you. You're new, you're young, you're getting out there, but this is why I wanted you on the podcast, because I want this perspective, and you have this drive, and I think it's important for people to see it, because it's a great example, and I think you're a young influencer, and I think I'm excited for you, man. I'm excited for what you're doing, and I think that you're doing a great job, and just keep killing it, man, because like your attitude and the way that you're doing this is going to inspire other kids at your college, your other football teammates and everything. So I think you're going around it the right way, man, for sure. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Every time I get some I love people that will just call it how it is, and I appreciate all the nice, kind words that you said. I never really understood the kids in high school that were kind of just like lolling around. Like, I like to call it meanderers. Like, they just smoke pot and they have no clue what they're gonna do for the next 3-4 weeks. Like,
I'm sorry, am I hearing a goose?
Yeah, there's on my campus.
I'm like, hello. I'm like, what is that? Okay. No, yeah, I totally hear. Yeah, for sure.
It's like, I don't know. Like you said it twice, I think now. You were only on this earth for so long, and no one's going to see us in 100 years. What are we going to be? Like, I wake up every morning with the hope that a new joke is going to hit. And a lot of people wake up and they don't know what they should be thinking or what they should be doing. Yeah. And I'm so lucky to have found something. And I went from football, I played in first grade all the way through everything, and I was focused on getting a scholarship. I got my scholarship. And then I came to Chicago, and my hobby was stand-up. But now this is not a hobby. This is a job. And I'm putting the gas pedal down when it comes to everything, but kind of taking a step back to just analyze where I'm at, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's
because
awesome.
I've done a lot in this, like, short time period. I gotta go back and see what I did right, what I did wrong, and then move on for these next 6 months, because that's all it is, taking it time period by time period.
Yeah, you got a good head on your shoulders, man. Let everybody know where they can find you on social media and stuff like that. Oh, and before we go, let them know that, and then I got to tell you my Craig Conant story that I told you I was going to tell you.
Oh, yeah. So you can follow me on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Zach Gish Comedy. That's ZACHISH Comedy, one word. And my live ticket link is in the bio, and alongside with my YouTube channel is in there too. So go check me out, please. And I appreciate you having me on, Jason. This has been really
of course,
fun.
man.
I
Yeah.
want to hear Craig's story because I'm not on the show anymore, but I'm still gonna go to Craig.
Yeah. I'm hoping to be there. I got to work some things out. I talked with Craig. I said, man, I got to come see it. And he's like, yeah, buddy. You know, he's such a nice guy. So I'm sure it's going to sell out. He's hilarious, dude. He's so good. But anyways, here's my story with Craig Conant. So I didn't know who he was. I never heard of him before. I was just about to go to LA. And I was going there for like art stuff that I had to do. And then, but just before that, I happened to see a YouTube clip of Craig Conant. I think it was at the Laugh Factory in LA. Hilarious set. And I'm like, dude, who is this guy? This guy is hilarious. So I literally just watched this clip and I knew what he looked like. I remembered his name and I was like, I gotta hear more of this guy. So anyways, earlier than that, I had this comedian, JD Witherspoon, on my podcast, and he's hilarious, does amazing impressions. His dad is a huge famous comic who actually unfortunately passed away a year or so ago, but a huge comic. He's been in tons of movies and he's just an amazing guy. So JD Jr., JD Witherspoon is also a hilarious, great comic. And I had him on my podcast. So fast forward again now, I'm going to LA. I just watched this thing with Craig Conant, so I have him on my mind. I was invited by Jeremiah Watkins to go to the Comedy Store to hang out with him and to go to Kill Tony, the Kill Tony show. And I put my name in the bucket hoping I'd get up, but I didn't get picked, but it was great going to the show. But anyways, that was awesome. And then Jeremiah invited me. I got to go up to the Belly Room. I think it was the Belly Room, and watch comics like Nikki Glazer and different comics, all just like hanging out and going up and trying brand new material. And so that was really cool to see some cool comics just doing raw stuff. And it was so real. Like they were just, it was like relatable because she would do a joke and she killed, man. And she'd be like, oh, I don't think that one works, you know? And it's like, it was just kind of interesting to see. So that was cool. But anyways, I go outside. Now I'm hanging outside at the Comedy Store and I see JD. I told him I was going to be there and he came and said hi. And I was talking to him and he knew all about my story. Or actually I told him about the fact that Steve Byrne was on my podcast and we started talking about comedy, and Steve Byrne invited me to, this is a huge setup, by the way, but anyways, he invited me to open for him at the Chicago Improv. And so JD's like, what? This is crazy. And so anyways, all of a sudden Craig Conant walks up and he's standing next to JD, and so it's just me, Craig, and JD. And I'm like, dude, I just saw you for the first time. This is so weird that I'm meeting you right now. I literally yesterday just saw your Laugh Factory clip. I was like, you're fucking hilarious. He's like, thanks, man. You know, he's like, oh, it's really cool. And he was so nice. We're just right away, just all hanging out, talking. And then JD goes, dude, check this out. Steve Byrne asked this guy to open for him at the Chicago Improv. He's doing 5 minutes in front of Steve Byrne, in front of Steve Byrne. And he goes, but check this out. This dude's never done comedy before. And Craig Conant's like, oh, you're gonna bomb so bad, dude. He's like, you're gonna bomb so bad, dude. You're gonna eat a big bag of dicks, man. He's just going on and on. And then JD starts laughing. He goes, dude, Steve Byrne, I don't know why he's doing this to you, but this is complete. You're going to be humiliated. Like your first time doing comedy, you're going to be doing, and like I went from being excited because I've been working for months now on my material. And I went from being so excited to scared shitless. And like, because two comics I respect are telling me like, you're going to bomb so bad. So,
right.
But then, and then months later, after I did everything, I did the show with Steve and it went well. I had Craig on my podcast, and I was like, you remember what you said to me? And he's like, no. And so I told him, like, you told me I was gonna eat a big bag of dicks. You told me I was gonna bomb so bad and all that stuff. And he's like, well, did you? And I was like, I said, no, I didn't actually. He didn't believe me. And then I told him the story. He's like, I don't believe you, dude. Like, I don't believe that you did well. And then I told him, I was like, no, I did well enough that he invited me to come back the next 2 nights. And he was like, well, okay, that's something, you know?
Yeah,
you know,
terrifying.
But it's just funny because like, I'll never forget like the first time I met Craig Conant, and he was just telling me, you're going to bomb so bad.
You're going to bomb, man.
Yeah. And they were laughing at me. They're like, you have no idea what you're getting into, dude. You're gonna. It was terrifying. It was like, I was like, and I was laughing with it. I'm like, oh shit. And then and it's funny too, because I made, you know, it's funny. This is just random, it just popped in my mind, but like, I remember talking to them about stuff, and then JD started talking about Leonardo da Vinci for some reason, and I started talking about how I don't think he's that great of an artist. and then they start laughing at me, and they're both like, dude, that's good material, you should talk about that. Like, that's some funny shit. You like, who in the world do you think you they go, who in the world do you think you are to say that you don't think Leonardo da Vinci was a good artist? And I'm like, dude, I paint time covers. Did Leonardo da Vinci ever paint a time cover? No.
That is funny. That is so funny.
But it's just funny because I just remember that was such a funny, standing outside the Comedy Store having that talk with those guys. I'll never forget that. So anyways, that was a long story. But anyways, I thought you would enjoy it because
that is good.
Yeah.
That is good because there is a bunch of times outside the club where you learn.
Yeah.
And like you said, that emotion roller coaster. We're like, oh my God, I can't believe I got that. Yeah. Holy shit, I could bomb in your stomach.
Yeah. But anyways, hey, thanks so much for doing this, man. This has been a lot of fun. I think people are going to enjoy it. We had a lot of laughs, and there's some good information. If you're interested in comedy, fan of comedy, want to do comedy, my advice to anyone that wants to do it, just do it. Get up and do it. Just go, you know, start writing stuff down and do it. Like, don't wait. You know, I waited way too long because, you know, I had a career and kids and all that kind of stuff, but it's always been a passion, and it's literally like my favorite thing in the world right now. Like, I wish I could do it every single night. If I could, I'd be out there every single night. So anyways, thanks for everyone for watching, for supporting the podcast. It means a lot. Please check out Zach Gish. If you're in Chicago, look him up, try to catch a show. He's a funny dude, nice guy. And I don't know, you know, maybe he'll tell a joke about you or something like that. I don't know. One can hope. So
yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Anyways, thank everybody, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
You want answers? The truth shall set you free. I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.